Hi, welcome back to Chemigo. This is Mr. Go, and this video is not necessarily about chemistry, but it is about uh, physics and specifically simple machines. This is primarily for my CPIVS class review. And today we're going to talk about levers, first, second, and third class levers. Before we get into the differences between each of the different classes of levers, let's talk about the vocabulary that's involved when we describe levers. A lever is basically a stiff board that's not flexible, it's not bendable, okay? And that's what we're going to be using to lift the object or overcome some sort of resistance. Now that resistance or object that we need to lift is known as the load, which is right here. And the load, again, is some kind of object or resistance that we need to overcome. It's probably an object that we need to lift in this case. Now, the other vocabulary word that I want to go over today is the fulcrum. And the fulcrum is usually symbolized by a triangle like this. And the fulcrum is a pivot point on the lever. This is where the lever actually rotates around. And the last vocabulary word that we need to go over is the effort. And the effort is the force that you apply on the lever to lift the load or overcome that certain resistance. And in this case, if we were taking a look at this seesaw, which is the classic example of a first-class lever, the effort will probably be on this end pointing down in order to lift this object up. So this, what I've just drawn for you actually, is a first-class lever. And the reason why it's a first class is because the fulcrum is in the middle of the lever, and the load is on one side, okay, and the effort is on the other side right there. Okay. Again, the primary example for this, or the classic example for this is a seesaw. All right. Well, let's take a look at a second-class lever. So second class. Now, a second-class lever will also have a stiff board, but the difference between that is that the fulcrum is now over here on one end. And let's see if you guys can guess. Where will the effort for the second-class lever go? Well, for a second-class lever, the effort actually is on the opposite end of where the fulcrum is. So here's the effort. And I'll draw like a little arrow right here. Effort. And since the effort is on the opposite end, the load will be somewhere in the middle. Load. Right. Our good example of this one, or the classic example for a second-class lever, is a wheelbarrow. In a wheelbarrow, what happens is the load will be right in the middle. Okay, the effort will be the person lifting up on the handlebars right here on the wheelbarrow, and the fulcrum will be wherever the tire is on this opposite end of the lever, of that stiff board. Okay, so again, a wheelbarrow is a prime example of a second-class lever. All right, let's take a look at the third and final class. So third-class levers. Now, a third and a second-class lever are actually very similar to each other. You will still have the stiff board like this. You will still have the fulcrum on one end, but the difference now is that the effort is going to be in the middle, and that the load is on the opposite end of where the fulcrum is. So here's the load, and then here's the effort. Now, for the first and second class lever, okay, it is possible for you to lessen the effort, okay, and compared to the resistance, compared to what the load would be. In a third class lever, the effort is actually the force of you applying, the force that you apply on the lever is actually going to be greater than the resistance that's applied by the load. And one prime example of this is a broom. Now, when you're sweeping something, here's my example person, and person is sweeping, so here's the broom right here. Okay. Person will hold the broom actually on this part right there. So that's where the fulcrum will be. Okay, and notice that the other hand, okay, is going to be right here in the middle of the broom, forcing this broom to go in that direction. And the load okay, will be whatever this dust is over here or whatever's on the floor that this person is trying to sweep. So note that a broom, again, is an example of a third-class lever. The reason why is because when you sweep something, the fulcrum will be on one end, the bristles of the broom will be on the opposite end where the load would be, and the effort that you apply is going to be right here in the middle, and it actually, okay, goes in this direction. Okay, so in the same direction as the load, as if you're trying to sweep the dirt in this direction right here. And note that the force that you apply on the broom will be greater than the effort, because you want this dirt or whatever this is on the floor to actually go a longer distance. Right? I'll try to come up with some other additional examples in the future, but for now, that's the difference between first, second, and third class levers. We'll talk to you soon.